This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, I'm Sumit Agarwal, and in this video I'm going to talk about the lookup function in the data view. So we must be knowing by now that whenever we write some logic in a mule application, we write with the help of flows, right? So flow is a component uh, which is part of core module, right? So whenever we want to do some kind of logic building in Mule, we take help of a lot of different modules, right? So there is a core module which helps you to take care of majority of the basic functionalities, and one of the components as part of the core module is flow, right? So flow basically helps you to combine different components or orchestrate different components in a logical fashion. So you can say flow is kind of a placeholder for different components within a Mule app, right? And one Mule app can have n number of flows. Right? So we can write certain logic in a flow. Then we can have another flow where we can write some different set of logic. Now, when we write multiple flows within a Mule app, then there is always a need to call one flow from another, right? So you can think of flow like a block, right? So a Mule app can have multiple flows or multiple blocks, and you would always come across a need where you need to call one flow from another. Okay, and there are multiple ways of doing it. One is you have got a flow reference component. Okay, this flow reference component is also part of core module. So you have got a flow reference component using which you can call one flow from another flow. You can do it with the help of VM queues. Okay, so VM queues are the inbuilt queues in MuleSoft, and you can use these VM queues also to call one flow from another flow. Okay, then another way which we are going to focus in this video is a lookup function, right? So in Mule, there is a strong transformational language called as DataWeave, right? So DataWeave is a functional programming language which helps you to which helps us to do complex transformations, right? So one of the biggest differentiators in MuleSoft as compared to any other integration tool is the data wave. So data wave is so powerful. There are so many out of the box functions which helps you to write very complex logics with quite ease, right? But yeah, so it's very important to know about few functions in the data view which we get to use very frequently, and one of those functions is lookup function. And whatever functions we talk about, right, these functions are part of different modules, right? So there is a core module, there is a string module, there is an object module, there is an array module. Each module has the corresponding functions, right? So you can think of it as like a library, right? And in each library there are different set of functions, and this library is categorized on different bases, right? So here this is part of Mule library. Okay, so there is a Mule module, and within that we have a lookup function. If you see the spelling, everything is in lowercase, and whenever we talk about function, it can take some parameters, it returns something. So for this lookup function, we pass two parameters. The first parameter is the flow name, which flow name is the one which is to be called, right? So here the first parameter is the flow name, and that represents the one which is supposed to be called. And the second parameter is the payload. Payload, right, or the data which you want to pass as the payload to the called flow, right? So whenever you're calling a flow, right? So if you want to pass certain data which acts as a payload to the called flow, is passed as a second parameter. So the point I'm trying to make is whatever value you pass as a second parameter will act as a payload for the called flow, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create two flow, calling flow, the one which will basically make use of lookup function, and using this lookup function, I will call another flow which is called as a called flow, right? And so what will happen in this lookup? I will pass two parameters. So let's say the first parameter is the name of the flow. So in this case, let's say the name of the flows are calling hyphen flow, called hyphen flow. The first parameter would be called hyphen flow, and the second parameter can be anything, but whatever you pass will act as a payload for the called flow. So let's say I pass here hi, right? And then this hi will go as a payload to the called flow, and whatever manipulation you do over there, that is performed in the called flow, and eventually the final payload in the called flow is returned back to the calling flow. So what does that mean? Whenever you call a flow using this lookup function, okay, so the return type would be nothing but the payload value in the called flow. So whatever is the payload value in the called flow, that would be returned to the calling flow. So this is the theoretical aspect. Let's try to do something practical on this. So I'll go straight away to the Anypoint Studio, have a new fresh workspace where I'll try to create a new application. So how do we do that? We go to new, and we'll straight away jump onto the mule project. Right? So it will be a little slow, so you have to bear with me. Okay, even when you start working, you will see there will be little bit of slowness. So here I'm naming it as this lookup demo. Right, so there are different runtimes which you can have in your Anypoint Studio. So right now in my machine or in this Anypoint Studio, I'm supporting three different runtimes. The latest one we have is 4.3.0. So we'll go ahead with 4.3.0 and we'll hit finish. So the moment we do hit finish button, so as you must be knowing that this Mule applications are all Mavenized. So, and Maven is a build tool, right, which will have a specific standardized structure of the project. And according to that standards, a Mule project will get created, which will have different directories and subdirectories. And there we will start with the, new kind of an API, which basically makes use of this lookup function. Okay, so let's wait for this project to get configured, and once it is in place, we shall get started with the configurations. Okay, so if you see, it is setting all the required things in the backend. So in your workspace, which happens to be over here, right? In your workspace, you would see a Mule project gets created with the name lookup hyphen demo, and within that Mule application, you will have different folders, like you will have source main resources, source main Mule, right? Source test resources, and all that stuff, right? So if you see here, now we can see a new Mule app with the name lookup demo, which is part of the package explorer, right? And a Mule configuration file automatically gets created with the same name as is the name of the project, right? So this is the default behavior. If you want, you can change the name of this file and all that stuff. Apart from this, you see there is a standard structure, right, which I was talking about. There is a source main Java, source main resources. So this is a standard structure. Certain dependencies by default gets loaded as part of the creation of this project. So you have HTTP and socket module, which inherently will be part of any Mule project you create. Then you have system libraries related to the JDK, then the ones related to the Mule server. So we are using 4.3.0. And as a part of any Maven project, there will be a pom.xml. That's what we can see over here, where you will have the name of the project, you will have the group ID, you will have the all the dependencies, right? All the repositories and all that stuff. So now go to the Mule configuration file, and what we do over here is we start with an HTTP listener. We want to expose an API, and typically whenever you want to do that, you need an HTTP listener. This is a lookup demo flow. Okay, this is the flow. So whenever you drag and drop listener or any other component, that will be eventually part of the flow. Because as I told you, flow is kind of an orchestrator or one single component which combines all other components in itself. And how do you verify that? You double click on the flow and you will get to see, right? So right now we are flow configuration. This is the name, lookup demo flow. So I'm just going to modify the name of the flow. You can always do that. Yeah, you can. So I will say lookup demo hyphen calling flow. Yep, and I will save my changes. So there is a HTTP listener where we see some errors because right now we have not completed the configuration of the listener. So whenever you drag and drop a component, there are certain configurations which have to fall in place. So if you see, this is a connector which will accept HTTP messages from the outside world into this new app. So I have to do the configuration for this. So I'll just click on the plus button to configure this HTTP listener. Here there is a host which by default is a local host. If you want, you can change it. And if you want to give some base path, you can do it. Or else this is fine, right? And here I'll give the path as lookup. Okay, so you can name it more meaningful. For now, I'm focusing more on the lookup function functionality, so I'm just naming it as lookup. So this will be used while we are calling this particular API, right? Okay. So now, what is the next thing? So the next thing is whenever you want to write some data, right? So typically we use transform message component. You can write data weave expressions in some other component, but the transform message component is the one where we typically write all the data weave code. So let's say the request comes in, then we drag and drop a transform message component. And in this transform message component, I want to write some data weave wherein I want to call another flow. Okay, so if you want to call another flow, you need to have one in place, right? So what I'm doing is I'm dragging and dropping another flow, which is supposed to be called from this flow. So if you see there is another flow, lookup demo flow. I will just rename it again using the similar approach, hyphen called flow. So lookup hyphen demo hyphen call flow is the name of the other flow. And you have to understand whenever you talk about the flow, there are three different parts in a flow, right? There is a source part, which is basically responsible for listening or reading the messages from the outside world into the Mule app. Processing is where you do all the manipulations, and then you have error handling, right? So that is true for any flow you build in. So this flow has a at the source part we have listener, in the process part we have a transform message component, and right now I'm not doing any error handling. So using this transform message component which I have in the calling flow, I want to call the called flow, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the this return type from Java to JSON. So I'm just changing the output type from application hyphen Java application slash Java to application slash JSON. And here I'm saying I want to use lookup. What I want to look up. Okay, so whenever you use any function, right, typically you need to mention the library, right, where it comes from. So you need to import that library. Otherwise, you may not be able to use that function. But for this one, I think it's not mandatory. For lookup can be used without giving the reference of the library because some of the libraries are by default imported in any Mule project. But still, for the safe side, if you want, you can give this like this, right? So it is as good as Mule is the library, and within that library, lookup function is there. And now, first parameter is the name of the flow. So just make sure you copy paste and don't make any spelling mistakes. And here, let's say I want to pass something like so whatever you pass from here, right, that becomes that acts as the payload for the called function, right? So what is happening in the called function? Nothing. As of now, nothing is happening. So I drag and drop message component over here, right? So what happens is, whenever you call one flow from another flow, you have to understand Whenever you're calling one flow from another flow, right, using this lookup function, the source part will never get executed. Right. So right now we do not have anything at the source level, right? So that is not mandatory, first of all. Even though I have it, that will not get executed, right? So whenever I'm calling one flow from another flow using lookup method or lookup function, this source part will never get executed. The control will directly come to this transform message component. And when it comes over here, what would be the value of the payload? The value of the payload is the one passed as a second parameter in the lookup function, which happens to be high over here, right? So what I do, I'll just keep it simple. I would say the final output has to be payload plus plus. Plus plus is used for concatenation. Okay. So high plus plus. I'm giving one space plus plus. So okay, you can do whatever you want. So this section, which is on the top, is called as header, and this is kind of a body where you write the transformation logic, and eventually whatever is the final resultant, right, that will be returned back to calling flow. So eventually, when you run this whole flow end to end, output you would see is a high Sumit. Why? Because see, the control comes to the source component, then it goes to the transfer message component. This transfer message component is calling another flow and passing high as a parameter which adds a payload to the called function, right? So this is parameter and this is the second parameter. Now the called function, or rather in the called flow, what we are doing is we are just concatenating the payload with a space and Sumit, and the same is returned back to the calling flow. And when you're doing so, sometimes you might see these kind of errors. What is the error? Unable to resolve reference of payload. So these kind of issues sometimes might come, right? But you can ignore them. So you have to read the warning. Sometimes these errors may not have any meaning. Okay, so for now I will ignore it. Okay, sometimes when you're doing the concatenation, you have to always ensure that you don't end up doing the concatenation with null. Even that might throw some issues sometimes. So because you cannot do concatenation with null, so sometimes we might need to set some this kind of default value. Okay. So right now you see that error is gone. So that was kind of a data sense generated error which might not come at the runtime. Okay, and maybe it was giving a kind of error warning because it might happen that payload is null, right? But in our case, that is not going to happen because we have taken care of that. So whether you set the default value or you do not set it doesn't make difference in our example. But just to let you know, whenever you're doing concatenation, you have to be cautious of the fact that you don't end up concatenating anything as null or anything which can be null. You have to set the default value so that you don't get errors while you do the execution, right? So we are more or less done. Now it's the time to deploy our application, right? How do you do that? Just right click on this. You say run as, yeah, mule application. That is one way. If you want to save all the changes, yes. Okay, so you could run it like this, or you just right click here on the flow, and you there also you get an option to run your mule lab. Anything is fine. So this takes some time. Now this is going to compile everything. Will create a jar in the backend, and that will be deployed to the Anypoint Studio embedded Mule runtime. So as a part of the Anypoint Studio, we have got a Mule runtime. So it is going to be deployed over there, and then we can test it. So what I'll do is, meanwhile it is getting deployed, I'll go to the Postman, and here I'll quickly create a new request. So new request. So typically request will be part of some collection, right? So right now I will say lookup function is what I want to test. So it has part of some collection. So I'll just name things something like mule blog is my collection name. I'll say right. Right. So collection is basically used in Postman to incorporate multiple requests, right? So it is always good to do like this so that you can always reuse, you can always export this. So when you start working in real time, you will understand this collections are very, very helpful. And even this can be shared across the team. So if you have created some requests, then your team member doesn't need to, spend time again in creating the one. Once again, you can just share it as is. So Right now, I have not kept any restriction on the method to be used. I'll just use a get method because I'm not having any logic in my mule application where we need a payload. So the host will be the local host, the port will be 8089. That is what we configured in our HTTP listener, and the name of the resource type is lookup. So this REST-based APIs always have something which is very, very important. That is a resource, right? So I'm looking for this resource with the host this and the port this, and I'm not planning to pass any payloads. I want to keep it as a get method. And before I hit the send button, I need to ensure that the app is deployed to the server. So I'll go back. It is still deploying. Okay, it is still deploying, so we need to hold on. So once it is successfully deployed, we should be seeing some message. The app is successfully deployed or something like that. That confirms that the app is uh, up and running, and then we can run our test. So right now I have not done any kind of logging, right? But eventually when you work on something complex, I would recommend you to do some kind of logging also. Okay. And one more thing I want to talk about is I was talking about the core module, right? So here you see, whenever you're working your different modules, this is the core module I was talking about. It will have all the core components which will allow you to do different kind of manipulations within a new lab, right? So these two modules are by default added, right? So let's wait for this deployment to finish. It's taking some time. Okay, guys, you will have to have that patience, right? Whenever you're working on Mule, so this deployments takes a little longer because there are a lot of things happening in the backend. So yeah, I think it is about to be over. So it is starting our app lookup demo, right? So you see, this is the kind of message which indicates that your deployment has been successful. So your deployment is done. If you want to clear the logs, you have a button over here, clear console, right? So that you can see the logs more clearly. And I'll go back to the Postman and I can fire the request. So just make sure that everything is right. I'll just quickly cross verify at the listener level that what was the name of the resource, because these things have to match. So if you see here, the name of the resource is lookup, right? So I just you go back to the Postman. Yeah, it happens to be the same resource. We'll hit on the send button. So it is sending the request, and you see you get an output. Hi Sumit. So that indicates that you were able to successfully call a mule flow from another flow. As if you see here in the transform message, we were trying to call another flow by passing hi as a payload that was concatenated with a space and Sumit, and whatever is the final resultant payload we have in this called flow is returned back to the calling flow, and that same output is being returned as a JSON to the consumer who is calling this API, and that is what is happening over here. So if you see, we call this, we got hi Sumit, and it is working as expected. So I hope this helps you to understand that how do we use a lookup function in DataWeave, right? So one note before I close on this video is this lookup function cannot be used to call the subflows. Okay, so there is a concept of subflow also, right, which is kind of a part of the flow itself. So it cannot be used to call the subflows, but can definitely be used to call other flows which are part of the same new lab. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching this. Stay tuned with me for more videos. Thank you.